cannot give you back your homes or restore your dead to life.
But perhaps I can give you justice in the name of our king.
Hey everyone, I wanted to answer a few more questions I've been getting about the final episodes of Game of Thrones. If you're not caught up with the series, this is your chance to walk away spoiler free. Other than that, let's get into it. Will Theon save his sister, or is she as good as dead? Theon is trying to rally the Ironborn men still loyal to Yara to make one last stand and help his sister escape. If we go back a few seasons, when Theon was Ramsay's slave, there's basically no chance he would risk his life to help anyone. His whole identity was reduced to the persona of Reek. But now that he has escaped enslavement, he's starting to see that there's nothing if there isn't risk. I believe we will see a final standoff between Theon and Euron before it's all said and done. Euron enjoys teasing his nephew, knowing that he doesn't have the toughness to fight back. But like most stories that move in this direction, there is always a point when the prey becomes the predator. But then again, this is Game of Thrones and not your typical fantasy tale. I think Theon will man up and go after his sister, even if it means sacrificing his own life to get the job done. He knows he will not be remembered as an Ironborn king or the best naval captain in the known world, but he could be remembered for the man who lost everything and through his hardships grows into the man who would prevail and save his sister against their savage, uncaring uncle. I hope that answers the question. Anyway, the next one is what will happen with the Eyrie now that Littlefinger is dead, and who will help Robin? This is a great question. Robin is the current Lord of the Eyrie, Defender of the Vale, as well as the Warden of the East. If we look at the Eyrie on a map, you can see that it's covered in mountains, not the long, subtle incline hilltops, but rather legit high and narrow peaked mountains. Being the Defender of the Vale is actually kind of a cool title, because the Vale sort of defends itself. Nobody cares to travel through the area because the journey is so harsh, making an entry by land virtually impossible. If Robin remains where he is, he may not even encounter much hardships during the Great War. Not that the Night King won't be smart enough to fly Viserion over to the Eyrie and take out the few people hanging around the castle, but it's just a more secluded area compared to most other kingdoms in Westeros. There is an old story of a dragon lord flying to the Eyrie introducing her dragon to a young king of the Vale, similar to the age of Robin in the current era. I wouldn't be too surprised if the Night King flies over the mountains to the Eyrie just like Queen Visenya did when they were restructuring control of Westeros. It would be an interesting tie back to the books the show is based on. And as for who will help Robin, who knows? Jon and Sansa need as many bodies as possible to fight in the Great War. Without the Vale's help, the Battle of the Bastards would have surely been a loss for Jon and his Northern Alliance. So the majority of able-bodied men in the Vale will probably be placed somewhere in the north waiting for the dead to arrive. Alright, next question is, are Ashara Dayne or Shira Seastar ever mentioned in the show? Outstanding question. Let's begin with Ashara Dayne. We know her as the sister of the greatest swordsman ever, Sir Arthur Dayne. In the books, Ashara is said to have been infatuated with Ned Stark, and Catelyn also once believed that Ashara was Jon Snow's mother, and she decided to jump off a tower in Starfall when she found out Ned's involvement with her brother's death. We know now that this isn't the case since Jon's the child of Rhaegar and Lyanna, not Ned Stark and another woman. As for her name being mentioned in the show, Mira speaks about her in one of the Season 6 bonus features called Histories and Lore, specifically the one about the Great Tourney of Harrenhal. As for Shira Seastar, her name is very briefly shown in a book called The Lineage and Histories of the Great Houses of the Seven Kingdoms. In the books, however, we know Shira as one of the great bastards of Aegon the Unworthy, one of the Targaryen kings who sat on the Iron Throne. Many believe Shira Seastar is still alive hiding in plain sight as Melisandre, who producers say is around 400 years old. It's no wonder why Shira's character hasn't really been overly mentioned in the show, since there's so much information and lore surrounding her. Anyway, that's going to do it for today's video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and as always, have a great day, take care, and I'll see you soon.